Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy, too. Each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're talking Love is Blind Season 5, and we are talking about production breaking the show. The show that is designed, sight and unseen, to see whether or not you can build an emotional and romantic connection that could potentially lead to marriage after the experiment is over, you guys. And all chaos has ensued. So there's going to be more breakdowns I'm going to do in other videos because this season is a hot mess already. But nonetheless, we need to talk about this Uche and Aaliyah situation, right? And what do I mean, right? What has happened? Uche and Aaliyah were getting on in the pods. Everything was pointing towards an engagement happening. And then some things broke down once Aaliyah revealed that she had cheated on a previous relationship that was 2 years ago. And Uche went into this whole thing where he was like, that's too recent of a time to be cheating. And, we thought things were going to fall apart between the two of them. And so then from there, right? After Uche calms down and does some reflection and talks to the guys in the men's quarters, he comes back and he's like, you know what? I still, want to see this through. I still want to get married to you, all of the things. And I need to put something out on the table. And, you would think that we would know this information like the first couple episodes, but no. Production wanted us to be, kept in the dark. And just like Aaliyah. So what ends up happening is Uche's like, yeah, so I know one of the women that are in the pods, right? I used to deal with one of the women in the pods, right? And that woman is Lydia. Now, who is Lydia? Lydia is Aaliyah's best friend in the women's quarters, you guys. The same Lydia that is comforting Aaliyah anytime there's drama with Uche, saying how they're the same person, and if Uche doesn't value her, then she doesn't need to be with him, and all of the things, right? And so Aaliyah is shook because she's like, she has confided in this chick all this time, and this has to have been at least by like a week now, right? That they have been, talking in the pods. And so she's thinking to herself, okay, I've confided all this stuff in you about somebody you already know, and you're gonna sit here and play in my face like this? And so Aaliyah, for whatever reason, tells Uche, I need to talk to Lydia about this, right? And I knew this was not going to end well because even if Uche is telling the truth that he shut everything down with Lydia, Lydia is going to manipulate this situation into her favor so that the door is still open for Uche for her, even if Uche doesn't want her, which is what he conveyed when production finally showed us their conversation on the 4th episode, right? So, nonetheless, we see the conversation, we see the fallout of, Aaliyah telling Lydia that basically she knows about her past with Uche, and basically told her, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything about you and Uche. I just want to know moving forward if it's not going to be an issue, if we're not going to have any problems. Now, me personally, I wouldn't want to deal with Lydia, period, because you don't know people's motives and intentions. And Lydia took it upon herself to completely spill all this unnecessary details about Uche, confirming his favorite color, that he lives in a big house, and that, what type of friends he has, and animals that he has, and how his animal loves Lydia, and how they recently had sex a couple months ago, you guys. Like just laying it on super thick, just trying to make Aaliyah feel less than, make Aaliyah feel like she is not good enough to pursue this any further with Uche. Meanwhile, she's still talking to him after the fact. She's trying to compare notes on different things that Lydia has said, and Uche is trying to reassure her, although there's certain things like the sex thing that he can't necessarily deny, but he is trying to tell her, hey, I shut it down. I told her that I am here for this experiment and all of the things, right? And so there's a lot of backlash, right, that is taking place in regards to this, because ultimately what ends up happening by the end of the 4th episode is we see Aaliyah quitting the experiment. Well, we don't see her quitting the experiment. We see Uche going into the pods and sitting there alone, talking to himself, right? And that is when production is like, yeah, Aaliyah decided to quit. And so, nonetheless, We don't know ultimately what the fallout of this is going to be, if Uche and Aaliyah will get back together down the line, because season 4 has shown us with Bliss and Zach that you don't necessarily have to be engaged and, you know, complete, you know, the whole big reveal and all of the things within that, you know, first initial time frame to complete the entire process of what the show is designed to do, and that if something is meant to be, it'll be, and if you're meant to be together, you'll reconnect. But I think, unfortunately, Aaliyah doesn't realize the magnitude of the manipulation that Lydia has done to, you know, make it a point to have Aaliyah turned off from Uche, right? And that's the part that I feel a certain way about, right? Now, I felt a certain way about Uche and how he came at Aaliyah for, you know, how she cheated in the past, but you were holding this secret that your ex was in the, you know, quarters and a part of the process and everything else. And then I had an issue with production waiting until episode 4 to put this out here, to have this like as some big suspense to facilitate all of this drama. And due to the backlash, the showrunner had to do an interview with People magazine to say, hey, oh, we didn't know anything until the first day. There's like 100 cameras, and the one person that, you know, had an eye on that particular camera was the one that said at the end of the first conversation with Uche and Lydia that they knew each other, that they used to date. And so production had them both individually in separate quarters of the pods or what have you, and said, hey, you know, what is up? Are you going to, you know, are you guys going to try to connect again? Because that's not the point of this show. And do you need to leave the show and all of the things? They needed to make sure that they were committed to the process. And they each individually said that they were committed to the process and that they were going to individually get to know other people. And they had to make a promise to production that they weren't going to say anything, right? And so then it's like, well, Uche still ended up saying something anyways to Aaliyah, but he felt at that point in time the connections were already secure. I guess production's fear was that Lydia and Uche would go through the motions of pretending to get to know other people, which still could be up for debate as far as I'm concerned, just so that they could stay on the show and just so they can continue the process of, you know, potentially marrying another person, but still basically be in cahoots with each other, right? And based off of the upcoming previews, it looks like that was the plan Lydia was going for anyways, because for some reason she has a terrible picker when it comes to men, and basically, you know, completely love bombs these men, and these men do not see it for her, and she completely misses the cues that they're not interested, right? Until it is too late and they have to tell her the hard way that it's not going to happen. And then, of course, she's then hurt and breaking down and things. But I just feel like the show has completely not only jumped the shark, but this is not the drama that I've subscribed to, you guys. And I don't know what's going to happen because, you know, for all intents and purposes, I know Aaliyah is saying that she's been living her life since quitting the show and that she is doing her music and she's still a travel nurse and all of the things. But ultimately, I mean, what is she going to say, right? Is she really going to say that her and Uche, you know, decided to work things out when we haven't seen all of the episodes play out yet? So really right now, things are ambiguous, right? Things are ambiguous as far as I'm concerned because, yes, she did quit the show, but we do see in upcoming previews that there is a conversation that takes place with Uche and her. So theoretically, it is possible that this could be a Bliss and Zach situation where they could get back together when it is all said and done. So I will continue to monitor this. I am actively looking for spoilers because I want to know who ends up getting married from this cast. Because this cast of characters, it is just giving, I want to be, you know, everybody's like, you know, trying to settle for their second choices and third choices and trying to make fetch happen so they could stay on TV, so they could stay on the show. And then people try to think that they could punk their second choice into still trying to propose to them. And that didn't work out the way that they had hoped. And then we see Lydia being messy with Izzy and messy with Uche, and I need to get to the bottom of what is going to happen with this. So I am very curious to see ultimately how all of this is going to play out, right? So there is that. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.